Have you ever thought about what it would take to get a video game banned in your country? I mean, it would have to be truly horrible and grotesque, allowing you to do unspeakable crimes against nature and humanity as a whole. Oh wait, what's that? It just has to have ghosts? Oh. For this video, I'm gonna ask for some audience participation. Close your eyes. Your name is Daryl. You're an indie game dev with a wife and 2 kids, and for some reason you want to make even less money than you already do now. Now open your eyes. How would you go about this? If you said by engineering the most horrible game possible so that it infringes on every single censorship law of every major country on Earth, that would be really weird. But hey, screw it. Let's help Daryl make the worst selling game of all time.
More of them. 1 billion children were born accidentally, and the room is so full that they can't even...
China actually has a pretty fascinating relationship with video games. With 25% of all video game sales going directly to China, and having game companies such as Tencent, who made games such as League of Legends, you'd think that they'd like video games quite a bit. Turns out, no, not really. In the 1990s, video game consoles were quite popular in China. However, little did they know that this digital heroin was destroying their society. Apparently, these games were so addicting that it caused students to slack off in their studies, which in turn caused them to be unprepared for Chinese college. I know I really shouldn't find this funny, but the imagery of digital heroin makes me think of like a mother walking in on her son playing like with an NES, and then the son's like, "Oh, I only did it once, I just wanted to be popular," and then the dad walks in like, "I didn't raise no druggie," which eventually led to the console ban. With such pressing concerns about video game addiction, it was clear that there needed to be a ban on all production, sale, and importation of video game consoles. Except when it wasn't. All video game consoles were banned in China in the year 2000. Except the ones that weren't. Nintendo was allowed to be sold in the country, but it was under a special partnership with the iQue player. And then the PS2 was allowed to just be the PS2. Games like Dota 2 and World of Warcraft became extremely popular, which if I was a Chinese politician, I don't know if I'd allow a game that takes large chunks out of your life like a World of Warcraft. Fortunately though, the console ban was lifted in 2015. How anybody went that long without an Xbox 360, I don't really know. But unfortunately, that did not mean that all games were allowed to be sold. So many of you may be thinking, how would you get a game banned in China? Well, you could include distortion of Chinese history, extreme violence, LGBTQ content, sexual material, mention of independence movements in Tibet and Taiwan, democracy, talking animals, ghosts, time travel, and many more. I bet you've probably heard of Animal Crossing New Horizons being banned in China. But to say that it was banned would technically be incorrect, because it was never actually sold there. To understand this, we must know the difference between Hong Kong and China. Hong Kong is a special administrative region of the People's Republic of China, and unlike the rest of China, they get free reign to media and can play however much Animal Crossing they want. Unfortunately for the rest of China, only a few first-party Nintendo games were actually allowed to be sold, not including Animal Crossing, probably because of the whole talking animals ghost thing. However, if you were a Chinese citizen and you really wanted to play Animal Crossing, you still could import it from Hong Kong. But many Chinese citizens were using Animal Crossing to protest their distaste of the government of China, with some people even using island decorations to say stuff like "Free Hong Kong" and to give China free speech. The game was pulled from shelves shortly after. So back to our indie dev Daryl. How does he make a game that 17.72% of the population can't play? Taiwanese Critters. It's a game where you and your gay talking animal friends go back in time to witness the Tiananmen Square massacre. So with LGBTQ, time travel, talking animals, and events that China has tried to scrub from history, Daryl can sleep soundly knowing that his game will not be able to be played in the People's Republic of China. There isn't really many cases of video games getting banned in the country of India. However, in 2008, Microsoft opted to actually not release Fallout 3 in this region. While their official statement claimed that it was for cultural and religious reasons, many people think it was actually because of the creature in the game known as the Brahmin. A Brahmin is a social class found within Hindu society, this being the highest ranking of the 4 commonly recognized ones. Brahmin often took up occupations of religious purposes in temples or in situations such as rite of passage rituals and solemnizing a wedding. They were also seen as spiritual teachers or gurus. Cows are also traditionally seen as sacred to Hindus. So Bethesda probably thought that naming a hideous mutated cow after a Hindu priest may not be the wisest decision. While I believe that Fallout 4 was released in India, I can't find any clear sources saying that there was or was not any censorship. Many cities in India also banned PUBG Mobile, which is kind of shocking because I swear these guys are the only ones keeping this game alive. Later, it was actually banned outright because there was actually some mishandling of data. Fortunately for them though, they did actually release an India exclusive version of the game called Mobile India Battlegrounds. This was developed entirely by the parent company Krafton instead of Tencent. And from what I can find, it's just the exact same kind of battle royale stuff. If there is actually anybody from India, I am actually really curious if there is any differences in the game. So if there is, make sure to comment down below so that you can correct me and make me look like an idiot. But also, I'm just genuinely pretty curious. In order to ensure that Daryl's game will be banned in the country of India, we must make some adjustments. Applying our knowledge, we can add some extreme violence. The game will now be called Taiwanese Critters Battlegrounds. Now on the cover, it will now say, "Freeing Hong Kong through any means necessary." And then while we're at it, we might as well add a second head to the cow, and then I think we're good. Now, 35.48% of the population will be unable to play Daryl's game.
Donald Trump, if you can hear us, please, Donald Trump, please save me. Please save me, Donald Trump, please.
Thank goodness that America has the N64 instead of the IQ player. I mean, what would humanity be without Banjo and Kazooie? What are you doing in my house?
Oh, well, I get a notification anytime someone mentions Banjo-Kazooie. It's kind of like a bat signal, but for the greatest game ever made.
Oh. You're right. Well, that must not actually happen very much.
It's more than you would think, surprisingly.
Well, do you have time to talk about banned games in America?
Sure, yeah, but, I can't stay long. Zachary Walton, located in Northern Ireland at exactly 6:36 p.m., will mention Banjo-Kazooie while reminiscing about his great N64 game. So I can only say about, 3 minutes or so.
Wow. You're like Santa Claus.
Yeah, I get that a lot. Anyways, to say that the United States bans video games would be technically incorrect. Thanks to the good old First Amendment, Congress cannot pass a single law to limit free speech. This means you can create a game about really anything. Want to make a game making fun of a famous politician? Go for it. Want to make a game where you do the most horrific things known to man? Slaughter thousands, create mass genocide, and tear your opponents limb from limb, and bathe in their blood? Yeah, go for it. Uncle Sam doesn't care. However, there is a small exception if a video game has illegal content in it. In this case, a court order can get the game taken off the shelves. One instance of this happening was with a game called The Guy Game. It was a simple trivia game where if you got an answer correct, then I think you can guess what happens next. However, there was a massive controversy with this game when it was revealed that one of the girls was actually 17, which legally classified this game as child. Gavin has advised me not to finish that sentence, so I'm not going to finish it. But I think you can guess what I was going to say. So, while games may technically very rarely be banned, there is a way the government keeps little Timmy away from seeing unsavory topics. And this is through the ESRB ratings board. You may be familiar with it. It goes early childhood, everyone 10 plus, teen, mature, rating pending, I don't know what that says, and the infamous AO games. An AO game is classified as content only suitable for adults, 18 years of age or older. This mostly means that out of the 26 games, a majority have titles that Gavin has yet again advised me not to mention. Most retailers refuse to sell these games, which means that very few publishers try to achieve this rating, opting to lower it to a mature. And in America, receiving an AO rating is essentially banning your game to the Shadow Realm, never to be seen again, along with likes of the Virtual Boy, and of course, Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts. Oh no, I'm gonna be late!
Well, let's just assume that Daryl doesn't want to pull a guy game. Instead, we are going to try to get him that coveted AO rating. In the video game Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, there was actually a cut minigame that allowed you to do the old Devil's Tango. Now mind you, it was never actually playable, there was just fragments of it left in the code. Now when people actually discovered this was pulled from shelves very quickly. So all Daryl really needs to do is slip some questionable code in there that nobody would ever see, but that would still be enough for Taiwanese critters to be never sold on store shelves. So that would bring the grand total of the percent of the population unable to play our game to 39.71%. Daryl's wife and 2 children will no longer have food on the table. If I didn't cover your country, then show this video tons of love and I'll make a part 2. So make sure to like and subscribe, and for now, I'll make sure that I don't have any banned games. Well, I mean, at least I'm not in the People's Republic of China.